Well, we finally got to tape off my old Super 8s, which for years we always wanted to do this. Everybody in, the old Super 8s were very precious to us all. Very good memories of the children when they were small, Velvet, Carlos, and little Verna, and Doris and Albert's kids. Our parents are gone now, Grace and Max Halfkenny. And we are grandparents now. The grandchildren are watching these Super 8s with us tonight. And my brother-in-law, Albert Pears, who has been around for years, is doing the taping. And my daughter, Velvet, is showing the Super 8s. So someday when I'm gone, maybe the great-grandchildren can look at them and get a big thrill of them. To look back at their ancestors and roots. And we enjoyed every minute of those days, and I wish they were back. 1971, St. Kevin's Church in Montreal. Carlos's christening. That's me, Verna, holding Carlos. He's 4 months old. It's Velvet in the purple skirt and the stockings. Avis and George Gordon and Lance, the little boy. Coming down St. Kevin's Church, Montreal, Quebec. That's Velvet jumping up and down and waving. She was so sweet, and that's Lance. Carlos on the bed, 4 months old. That's the only time he wasn't crying. Velvet waving in the background. And that's me touching Carlos. Well, this is the party after Carlos's christening.
There you go.
Yes, at 4721 Berkeley Avenue, Montreal, Quebec.
That man, whoever he is.
Right, look at him cracked up at Glide there. This is my father, Max Halfkenny, holding Carlos, his grandson. The year is 1972
Why is he
again.
jumping?
1972, that's Scott Pears dancing, right there's the white pajamas. Carlos Dos Santos in the brown. Gary Halfkenny in the green and yellow. Lance in the red pants. Craig Pears playing the guitar. Velvet King in the background. Scott and Carlos.
Heather and Maxie.
Shane Pears, other times Maxie. My mother, Grace Halfkenny, George Gordon, Avie ducking her head, Ava's Halfkenny.
Pause.
Little Verna, pause.
Turn the light on.
Right there. Ava's Gordon ducking her head. Steady Clyde trying to hide. My mother, Grace Halfkenny. This is in Montreal at 4721 Berkeley, 1972. Velvet and Heather times.
Make sure it's straight on.
Carlos is chewing gum or something. That's Grace and Max Halfkenny with their grandson Carlos Dos Santos. 1973. Velvet, Lance doing the somersaults. Velvet in the purple shorts, Avie in the red. That's Carlos, Lance in the striped sweater, Rudy Maxwell sitting down. My mother in the shorts. Little Verna in the striped sweater. Mom looks pretty good there. We are home on summer vacation with our children. Kenny Maxwell with his daughter Krista. That's Betty Dorrington Tynes walking there. That's Leslie Clyde with Carlos walking down the street.
Leslie looks the same.
That's Carlos holding my mother's door. That's Aunt Avis with her nephew Scott Ferris.
Oh, look at the house before the siding.
Yeah.
And the old paint job.
Sheldon Clyde in the red sweater. There's Craig with no sweater. Lance with no sweater. Sheldon's making the horrible faces.
Mommy, come up.
That's Craig Pears. Carlos is crying. Scott's waving with the red sweater. And this is my father when he died at the funeral, Carlos.
What time is it now?
22.
10:45.
He's going to jump here in a minute. Okay? And this is the life out here.
And G.
Okay, and this is your
And G.
1974.
Say it again.
A party at Avy's house. That's my cousin Ray
1974.
dancing. Yeah. That's John Mintus standing against the wall. His wife Lee sitting down. Ray and John are brothers. That's, I already said it. That's what. Oh.
Yeah, you have to wait now.
Cousin Ray dancing. Ray Mintus dancing. A party at Avy's, 1954. No, it's Brad's wedding. 1974, I made a mistake. It's at Weenie's house. I don't know who those girls are. They're friends of the bride and groom. Bill and Jean Combs stand in the back. Dancing. The year, 1974. Gregory and his girlfriend at the time. I don't remember her name. Gregory Tynes. George in the background, George Gordon. That's Bill Combs, Auntie Combs, and Cordell. Paris with the pink shirt on.
Isn't that Danielle?
And Danielle, I forget her last name. Bert Paris, Dale
There's your
Paris.
father, Tom.
Yeah.
And Carlos on his tricycle. Carlos climbing in the crib with Velvet. Velvet's 10 years old. Carlos is 2 years old.
Why you just look like now?
Look at Velvet. Brother and sister, Velvet King, Carlos Dos Santos.
Mommy's older than
Velvet King, that's the group. Velvet's telling Carlos to walk slow. No, I'm telling Carlos to walk slow. I take the picture. Come here to Velvet's bedroom. 4721 Brackley Avenue. These are my beautiful children. Santos. No, Urania Plata dos Santos with his son Carlos Dos Santos. Carlos is 3 years old at Botanical Gardens.
Ow.
And that's me with my son Carlos in Botanical Gardens, Montreal, Quebec. We are having a little family picnic. Velvet was in Nova Scotia that year with Terry. This is the summer of 1974. That's me, yes. And that's Santos, Carlos's daddy. He planted all those flowers. Santos works in that garden. Okay, that's very clear, Al.
I'll be back.
Yeah, like, oh yeah. Oh, remember that day, Doris? This is that animal farm in Stewiacke you took us to.
Oh,
Albert took us down. You and I and
That's Judy.
the three sisters.
I didn't know who that was.
I never saw this one in years. Look at that. Remember we did this, Albert?
Yeah.
Look, Amy looks up nice. Look at Derek. See the baby? That's you, Derek. Look. George and little Verna's walking Derek. Isn't that cute? Look at him. That's Scott in the sweater and Lance.
And it's big.
And there's this Katie and Bucky and yeah. Remember the picnic in the backyard? This is 1975, I remember that. That's Bussy Tynes and Bet. And look at Kimmy.
Who?
That's Kimmy, that little girl. Katie's Anita and Bet's Maria.
Yeah.
Joan Parsons. Yeah. And Ruth.
Look at Ruth.
And look at my
Now there's 3 people dead.
Uncle Ted and Bet. And that Lillian.
Oh, look at that.
Bill.
Albert.
Remember that time?
I wasn't there.
This is over at Bet's house and they're having a jam session in Bet's house. It's Murr and Bussy and Wilford Barnes and Future Drums. First dots. Go on, Murr. Jimmy Pears. Look, Jimmy's on that. Oh my God. Yeah, this is, I know this is 19.
Oh, that's Murr.
That's Jimmy there dancing.
Look at that, Tony. Oh my gosh, I can't get over yet.
That's Claudia, Sis Morton. This is at Bertie's house, Snooky Times and Bertie's children there. And that's Cyril Maxwell. I remember the night this was taken.
I don't remember that.
There's Bertie's Denise.
Yes, I know she's small.
And Rudy and Bertie. Bertie all have stuff. Look. That's me and Snooky. There's Roberta and Lisa. And there's Lisa in the white, Roberta in the red. That's Katie and Sarah, and Beth. Oh, God. Oh, what for God? No,
See, stop.
Right. Go on, Eli.
Tony! That could be your turn.
George, can you watch it? Morpher's getting down.
Damn! Wouldn't I love to see this?
Oh, yes. And Robert looks good, doesn't he?
Yeah, but he was always dressed up velvet in the suit.
Every day, suit for every day of the week. Oh, well, go on, Eli. Keep them drums. Too bad we can't hear the song, Adrian Albert. Hang on the wheel, Velvet.
I got it. No, way down. That's
What's the
Tony
wire?
when he meet Pearl outside.
We go to the game.
Huh?
We go to the game.
This is in Beth's house, when Beth was living on the alley.
She is one man.
Look at Amy cracked up, laughing up.
Yeah.
Boy, it's too bad we can't hear what they're playing. This is at Vera's house.
Wait for it. Oh.
Jeannie, Clint, Betty, Aunt Vera, Aunt Teresa, Doris, and wait, Uncle Hurley,
You can't wait.
Kip Bedeau, ain't it? Look at Uncle Jim Chewett. This game looks so nice, eh? Watch out, Jasmine, don't get in the way. Look, Aunt
Look,
Teresa.
they're all dead.
Yeah, except that. This is the hurricane, 1975.
Up the island there. Look where the hurricane.
The tree blew down in front of Uncle Billy Jordan's house. And that's,
Where the wind blows.
on the roof is Francis Collins and it's Bert
Look at
Barrett.
that. Up the island, the big tree blew over.
Yeah,
Who's that?
I forget, there's Uncle Ted and those kids in the window are Brian Bird's kids.
Yeah.
There's Bob Memphis, my uncle, and Uncle Ted, and Ted. That's Cordell climbing the tree. And that's Velvet, I believe. And here's Mom.
Janet.
And Janet Borden. And Ava.
Look at Murray.
And Murray Dorrington. And Bob Memphis.
I never ever seen this
Velvet
before.
with the yellow sweater. Oh, look how cute. Velvet pulled Amy's hat off. That's Kimmy. Look at Cordell. And who's that other kid? Carlos and Cordell. That's Sailor.
Yeah.
And Bette Cordell. Remember Sailor? George, quick, you're missing it.
What?
Should be able to see it again.
Stay there. That's Lance on the bike.
Yeah.
And that's me yelling at Velvet.
Pebble.
Is that Pebbles?
Yeah.
I said, I told you.
Dion.
Dion.
Oh my God.
Uncle Billy Dorrington.
Look at Uncle Billy.
And that's Nolan.
Yeah. Well, dear gosh.
And that's
Glory.
Glory. And
Oh
Ruth
my
and Pebbles. Mom, Brenda, Betty. This is Gregory's girlfriend. I forget her name. And Velvet.
Halfkenny. Oh
Yeah, this is 75. That's Amy driving the car.
yeah. Yeah.
What
Who's
is that?
that? John.
Christian Calvary.
That's Lulu and her children, and Chris Shepherd, and that's Lulu's son, yeah, Wolfie, and Lulu, look at Lulu. That's Bert and
Oh,
Carlos,
look at Gloria and Bert.
that's Carlos and that little boy Lulu, what's his name? Calvin, Norm Jackson,
Oh my God, Verna, you got everyone.
Brian Byard, Brian's child Tina
Mm,
and Terry,
Oh my God.
Brady.
They're all dead.
Brian Sailor.
Oh, Verna, wait till them. Everybody sees. Oh, I gotta have that tape.
That's me on that velvet for doing something. Look how small that was. That's Bob Minnis, our uncle, raking his grass.
Oh my God.
And that's Lisa.
Lisa, she's getting married next week.
Look out the window.
Me and Carlos. Look at Jerry. Look at Jerry.
Yeah, look at Jerry.
And that's
That's
Velvet.
Jerry and Amy.
That's uptown at Moxley's drugstore. That's
Amy
Amy on
and
Jerry. There's Carlos in the Herb Upshaw's pony. That's the day he kicked the pony in the leg. That's across from your house store.
You sure that ain't our pony?
I don't know. That's Velvet.
That's our pony.
That's the pony
That's
we
Amy
want.
coming down the hill. Look. Lights, Jerry.